Showtime, Shawn Porter was interviewed about the fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, the mega fight coming down this Saturday, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. Get your tickets, buy the pay-per-view. You guys aren't going to want to miss this one. This is the mega fight that we've all been waiting for. But let's get into, Shawn Porter was being asked about, obviously he faced both fighters, tremendous fights, 2019. The fight with Errol Spence in that fall. I still remember that fight. It was so good. I was rooting for Shawn. Wasn't able to pull off the decision, but the knockdown was obviously the difference in the fight. But we had the Terence Crawford fight where, Shawn was kind of preparing for retirement. Not to take anything away from Terence Crawford, but that's just the reality of the situation. Shawn's father said that he didn't prepare the way he wanted him to. So there was that factor. That was also a bit of a narrative, afterwards. But either way, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence have both beaten Shawn Porter. But Shawn Porter had some, good things to say about Errol Spence and kind of telling, everybody, telling the world why they should watch this fight, because these are two fighters that stylistically, when they clash, there's no way it's not going to be a good fight. Anything could happen in the early rounds, in the later rounds. I think Shawn's leaning more towards a later round, not stoppage, but I think more like a Terence Crawford decision is what I've seen. It seems like he's kind of alluding to, but I don't want to put him in quotes or anything like that. But I think it's a tremendous fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Errol Spence obviously was able to knock down Shawn. I would say that Errol Spence's knockdown on Shawn Porter that he scored was more devastating than Terence Crawford's two knockdowns combined. I think that's where Shawn was actually hurt. His legs really couldn't handle it. I think that against Terence Crawford, it was more of an accumulation of punches and, more of the off-balance aspect of it. But that just goes to show, how talented Terence Crawford is as well. But Shawn was talking about how it's kind of like an avalanche. Errol Spence isn't necessarily getting stronger throughout the fight. He's saying that throughout the fight, he's so consistent that you can only take so much, so it seems like he's gaining momentum, but at the end of the day, it's like a straight line, just like staying consistent, going straight through you, and you can't handle the pressure anymore, so you slowly start to fade. That's what it's like fighting Errol Spence. It's not so much that he fights in spurts and has his moments. He's just so consistent throughout that 12-round duration that it's hard to keep up with him, and that's why I think, they say pressure either makes diamonds or bursts pipes, and I think that in this particular matchup, Terence Crawford is going to be that, that bursting pipe. But just because I'm not trying to take anything away from him, I think it's a close fight, on paper, but I think that Errol Spence is going to win convincingly. And I say that because of the pace. I say that because of the conditioning. What Shawn said, the avalanche, it's going to be hard to weather that storm. And I think he's just, going to keep breaking down that door that is Terence Crawford. And not to say that Terence is going to make it easy, the hand speed, the counter-punching ability, the angles, being able to switch stances. I don't know if that's going to be enough against a guy like Errol who's so consistent. I'm going to put consistency over, flashiness and fighting in spurts and having your moments. I'd rather put my money on the guy who's consistent without 12-round duration, not where, okay, Bud's going to get him now. I take my chances on the guy I've seen with every fighter, focus on his game plan and, be so mentally strong and consistent in executing that game plan. That's why I pick Errol Spence to win the fight. But it's going to be a tremendous fight either way, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Shawn Porter, I salute to him all the time because I know him personally, and I know that he's a good guy. And spoke to him many times about the fight, and he's always said that it's such a close fight. Neither guy fights like Shawn, so it's hard to predict. You can't just use that as a basis of, oh, Terence beat Shawn in a stoppage win, so he did it in greater fashion, so he's going to beat Errol Spence. You can't use that because, like Shawn told me, he said that Terence Crawford doesn't fight like Errol Spence, and Errol Spence can't fight like Terence Crawford, and none of them can replicate Shawn Porter in that ring. Shawn was able to put a pace on Errol Spence, but it still wasn't enough, just wasn't enough. Is Terence Crawford going to be able to do what Shawn did, and then more on top of that, given, he's supposed to be, the more talented fighter than Shawn Porter. He's supposed to be that more calculated. He's supposed to be the guy that's, so flashy, so stylish in there, and he gets guys out of there, stopped everybody at 147 that he's gotten in the ring with. So we're going to wait to see that. I think that, despite Terence Crawford's greatness, his ability inside that boxing ring, I think I have to be real when it comes to this particular matchup where Errol Spence is so active with that jab, always touching you. We always talk about Errol Spence being active, but he's not always trying to land something big, so he's constantly touching you. So in your mind, he keeps touching you, and then he starts to land those thudding shots where it's heavy hitting. You know, it's not so much of that snap. It's more of that thump. You know, it's like It's not like boom. It's not that stinging shot. You know, I think Terence has more of that stinging power, but I think that when Errol goes to the body, you know, works behind that jab, I think it's going to be an issue. And I think Terence Crawford, I think Errol Spence's chin is just the punch resistance is on in favor of Errol. And when it comes down to it, I just see Errol stopping him. You know, that when he touches that body, I don't know how Terence Crawford's going to react. Now, it would be smart for Terence to go to Errol's body, but I still think Errol persists against a guy like Terence Crawford. That's just my opinion. So Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, it's going to be a tremendous fight this coming Saturday, July 29th. You guys don't want to miss it. But thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. That's going to do it for another Nads Fight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.